Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of Revival on the Buick Century. We got a lot of work ahead of us. We still got a motor to pull, a transmission to pull, as well as a motor to drop in and a transmission to drop in. And I still have to take that motor I get to drop in this thing and put all new gaskets and stuff like that in it. It's going to be like a new motor when we're done with it. So stay tuned. We got a lot coming in this video to do today, so let's go ahead and get started here. Oh. Looks like somebody already took the motor out. Yeah, guys, things kind of escalated. I kind of wanted to record the process of pulling out the motor, but I ended up not doing so. That was for a couple of reasons. One is I just got lazy. Two, there was more holding in this motor than what All Data said, so thanks All Data for lying to me. There is a bracket on the back of these 3100s that is holding in the side of the transmission here. 1, 2, and I think that's all that you need to take out here. You know what's strangely enough is that that bottom bolt that's bolted into the back of the motor, it was loose. So not gonna rush to conclusions here, but I'm really starting to think somebody might have even had this motor out at some point or something. Something's going on with this motor. It's just I can't put my finger on it, but something's going on with this motor. I'm not even particularly sure that this is the original lower intake at this point, but I could be wrong. It could be. But yeah, so that's pretty much, well, that's the motor out. We got the transmission to pull still, but basically what I'm going to do today, my plan for today is we're going to tear into this motor and basically tear all of it apart and finally confirm what exactly is wrong with this motor today. I might even pull the timing cover, I'm not sure yet, and pull the timing chain to see if the camshaft is in fact broken. But I'm thinking I'm just probably going to end up taking upper intake, lower intake off, and right under the upper intake here and the lower intake here is a plate that is meant for the old distributor. When these blocks had a distributor built in, they actually still have the they still have the preparation, or the plate. They still have a way to put the distributor in, so it's kind of weird. It's almost like they designed this motor to have a distributor at the start and then decided to put some coil packs on it. But either way, they put a plate on it. So basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this upper intake, lower intake, take that plate off, and I'm going to try to spin over the motor up here and see if that camshaft is in fact spinning. I'm going to bet on no. And the reason why I'm going to bet on no is because I could see when I pulled this sensor off, this is another cam sensor. I believe that to be a cam sensor right there. I started turning over the motor and it was spinning on this side, but that kind of confirms what I said before with this rocker over here spinning, rocker arm spinning. But these over here were completely still, so I think this camshaft is broken half. So we'll go ahead and find out. So I found something interesting. Obviously you can see the cam right through there. Go ahead. And we'll zoom in right there. You'll see that that right side is moving, actually. Right there's the brake. If I can zoom in on it there without my camera not focusing. Thank you, camera. There it is. Camshaft is broken almost directly in half. So, actually it is broken directly in half. So, there's your answer. Ivan was correct, and that just proved it. So that's good news to hear, at least as far as Ivan's concerned. Not so much for me, because that means at least it was worth pulling this motor out. I had a good feeling it was broken though, based off the fact that the rocker arms weren't moving. I saw this one or this one moving, and you can see just how. Actually, you can watch the rocker arms move now. There's the Yep, that one just moved. This one's way too loose, though. I don't know why that one has so much play in it. But, yeah. So, there you guys have it. Camshaft is broken, so I'm probably going to get all this exhaust off. I want to use a decent amount of this stuff on my donor motor because, well, this motor is from the south, and the one that I just grabbed is from the north. So, yeah. So, let's go ahead and keep on taking this thing apart. Alrighty guys, so we got the head off of the front side of the motor, and actually it looks pretty good under here. The only place where it made a little bit of contact is right there. It's just a little mark there. I don't believe this ever hit in here. Which cylinder would that be? That would be cylinder 6. Cylinder 6 I don't think ever made any contact. The cross hatching is still very nice in there. Cylinder 1 or 2 of course is fine. Now I'm going to take off the rear head and see what that looks like. This might be good heads still. I think they are. So we might end up using them. Alrighty guys, so kind of unfortunate news here, but got this cylinder number 5 definitely took the most of the blow here. You guys can see where it's been contacting that cylinder. This one looks okay. Obviously this one's fine. So I don't know, that definitely looks pretty bad there. I'm gonna have to look through these bores and see if we got any serious... Ooh, we do have scratch here. Right, you guys can probably see it right in the middle of your screen there. Do have a little bit of scratching in this bore here because it had no oil pressure, so I don't know if this block is going to be too good, but definitely had some contact here with the valves. But I'm going to have to go turn this thing and see if the bore looks okay, see if any material got in there, or if it's really scratched up, because if it's super scratched up, then I don't know if it's worth saving this block or not, because I was planning on saving it based off how... Alrighty guys, this is a 1998 drivetrain. It looked pretty good at the junkyard, and I looked at the inspection sticker as well as the oil sticker, and it said 56,000 miles. And I was like, okay, now I'm more interested, because that's less than 10,000 miles more than that car, or sorry, 10,000 miles more than what that car has, just about. And so that's pretty good. So I took this valve cover off, the front valve cover, same way I diagnosed that engine over there, at least initially. I spun it over and it appeared the camshaft was good. And next thing I did is I pulled off the oil filter to see what kind of shape the motor oil was in and if there was a bunch of metal in it. And there did not appear to be, and it looked actually quite good. There was a little bit of milkshake in the radiator cap and in the top of the radiator, so this tells me that the intake might be blown on this one, but that's okay, because I'm going to end up putting a head gasket, an intake gasket, valve cover gaskets, and everything I need to make sure that this motor is going to last for a long time to come. Now, I don't know whether the rod bearings and main bearings are good in the crank. It felt really good turning over. I pulled all the spark plugs out. It felt really good. I didn't feel any hard spots. I didn't hear anything going on in there, so let's cross our fingers as far as that goes, and also cross our fingers that this transmission's any good. I believe it to be, but then again, the 97 Lumina that we're actually taking the Century's transmission and putting in the 97 Lumina, this 98 transmission is going into, with this motor, into that Buick. But the 97 Luminas, when I pulled the pan out of it, I saw basically no material. I was actually shocked because it was slipping and it didn't have a lot of material on the bottom of the pan. And I took the pan off of this one, and it had probably the same amount of material as what that Lumina had in it, or anything really, like even that Impala right there. It just had, you know, it had normal amount of wear material in the pan, and, you know, a little bit on the magnet, but not too bad. And now, I didn't see anything too significant, so I've seen a heck of a lot worse, and they actually worked. So, you know, it's all up to just testing it, I guess. But we're going to have to separate this motor and transmission anyway, because that's the way we're going to put it in the 97 Century. So I might even do the rear main seal on this puppy right here, as well as the front main seal. So I'm going to be doing as much as I can to ensure this motor is a leak-free, good running motor. I just don't want any problems. I mean, it's already out. Why not just do it? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Here's the numbers on this transmission right here, actually, and we should be all good to go. So stay tuned. We got a lot more coming. I believe this will be also part of this video. So alrighty guys, so as you guys just saw in that last clip, I got the motor and drivetrain for this thing ready to go. Motor, transmission ready to go. So that's good news. Let's go ahead and get this transmission out. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, but for you guys it's gonna be the next clip. So hopefully it goes smoothly. I got a little excited and I pulled the transmission without you guys. Now the lighting's terrible here, but yeah, it's out. It's all ready for the 97 Lumina. We still got the seatbelts on it from when we pulled it out. But yeah, got that out yesterday. Got the motor sitting right over here. Inside of it, the broken camshaft. And over here, we have the donor motor. So I'm gonna get started separating. I gotta first probably separate these two. I'm gonna separate the transmission and the engine, and the reason why I'm gonna do that is because I'm gonna put the transmission in first, like exactly opposite of what we did here. I'm gonna take the transmission, drop it in first, get the motor mount in there and everything, and then I'm going to do work to the engine itself. I might do some of the work to the engine itself today because I don't have all the parts to drop the transmission in yet. I still haven't got a motor mount that I need to put in there, so I'll have to grab that pretty soon because we're getting on the verge of having this motor and transmission in there. But the motor, I need to do the rear main seal. I'm gonna really make sure this thing is literally like brand new as far as gaskets go. The only gasket that's not going to get replaced on this motor, I think, is the oil pan gasket, which, as far as I know, they don't leak too often on these 3100s. But sorry for having it tarped up here. I just got this back here, so I'm going to go ahead and start stripping this thing off. Here it is. 50,000 miles. I pray it's a good motor. I still don't know, guys. It turns over good, feels good. I took off the valve cover to ensure that the camshaft was turning properly, and it was spinning all the valves, or moving all the rocker arms and all the push rods. So I'm pretty confident. I didn't hear any clunks. There was no hard spots. The other big question is the transmission. Is the transmission any good? And that I cannot verify one way or another. I pulled the pan gasket, or the pan, but there's not much you can tell other than seeing material in there. And even then, it's not a super honest answer. The only way to really know is you fill with transmission fluid, you put it in gear. If it goes, it's good, well, or if it doesn't, it's bad. So we'll have to see. I'm just really praying right now. Alrighty guys, so I took her apart the rest of the way, and well, seems like half of it came out. We already knew that. So there's the brake, guys. It's literally half a camshaft, basically. Let's see, it stops right, actually you can see the brake. If I can get in there with the camera, hold on, I'm gonna have to put what's left of the camshaft down. It's significantly worn as well, as you would expect. There's the brake right there. There you go. So, I'm not getting that half of the camshaft out, but yeah, that was it's interesting to see that you know, the other half of the cam's still in the motor. But no, guys, we're making good progress right now. Let's see, there's the camshaft
sprocket and the timing chain off the other 3100. Here's the other one. It did have a blown intake gasket, which, I mean, they all do. But this one looks really good. The cross-hatching is pretty darn good in this thing. Still, now they're starting to get oxidized, obviously, so you can't see it as much. I mean, you can see a little bit out over there, and there is essentially no ridge at all on these, no ring ridge. So that's really good. It's very, I mean, I can tell you right now, this is a 50,000 mile motor. So camshaft lobes look great. Let's see, what else? I pulled off the crankshaft balancer, because I'm going to end up replacing the front main seal in this and the rear main seal. I still got to pull the flywheel off as well. I probably should have done that before, hindsight being 2020, but we'll get her done. That's not a huge deal. But it did not appear that the head gasket was blown. We're going to be mixing and matching a bunch of different parts on these motors because, well, they're the same darn thing. It's 3.1, 3.1. So I'm going to use the heads from this one. I'm going to use the lower intake and the upper intake and the valve covers from the other motor just because they look nicer, and this lower intake says 98 on it, and I don't want to say I want to fool people into thinking this is a 97, but I want to put a 97 intake on there that says, well, it doesn't even say it's a 97. So yeah, we just got a lot of progress going on. I separated the motor and transmission, obviously, so there's the transmission just in by itself. I got to change the lines out on it, but that's about it. And I already changed the side cover there, so that's the side cover that came off of the clean car. Even though it's not the cleanest thing in the world, it's a lot cleaner than the other bracket. Here's the other one. So just a little comparison, up north versus south, even though that's still technically north. Still got a little bit of rust on it, but not a big deal. We'll get the rest of the axles out and do a few other things, and that should basically be it for this motor, or for this transmission. I mean, the transmission's basically ready to go. The motor, though, has a lot more work to be done to it, but it's not such a big deal. I'm about halfway there, so I got to clean all this up. I'm going to try to get the head gaskets on and obviously the heads on tonight, and I think that's where I'm going to stop for today. And then I'll probably reassemble the rest of it tomorrow, or I'll head up to the junkyard tomorrow and grab the parts I need and then come back and reassemble it, because I need to grab a couple more parts for the Sentry. I got to get the cruise control taken care of, and a couple other things taken care of. So alrighty, let's get this thing back together. Okay guys, so I don't even remember where I last left off, other than this block being bare. But I've gotten this thing most of the way back together now. New head gaskets, new upper intake gaskets. Gotta get the lower intake gasket. I gotta get the upper intake gasket on, the valve covers obviously, and a few other things. And this motor is just about ready to be put back in the car. Good news is you'll see the transmission's not on there. It's back in, so that's good news. I still got to take the seatbelt off there, I guess. But yeah, I got a few other things I have to do before the engine can go in, but it's coming along pretty nicely, guys. Let's see, today is Wednesday. We should be able to have it finished by Friday. I mean, you guys won't know what Friday I'm talking about, but 2 days should be all put back together. Don't worry about that weld. I mean, it was snapped in half. That's the first weld of the year for me, so even though it's bubble gum, I still got some good penetration there. Obviously, I cleaned it up before I did. I mean, I could grind that and make it look good, but let's be honest, this isn't like it's a show car or anything, so honestly, I think I'm just going to leave it just the way it is. I might paint it, though, just so it doesn't rust there. I got a brand new motor mount, or transmission mount there. I got to pop the axle back in, but first I got to take off the lower ball joint and swing this entire assembly out and then get it back in. Those were kind of a nightmare to get in and out, but you know, it is what it is. That's just the way it goes. So anyway, I got the sway bar bushings I'm replacing. Now let me tell you how much of a headache that thing is. I mean, not that it's hard to reach really, but on certain Buicks, the sway bar is actually a different size between what you get. Unfortunately, I happen to have the rare smallest one ever, apparently. This is the Sport. They have the Sport. I don't know what says sporty about a Buick Century, but and a 3100, but whatever. But Sport suspension, sway bar, and a just a regular sway bar like this one is. But this one's apparently the rare one because I can't seem to find it anywhere local, and I've been trying to shop local because of the fact that I didn't want to wait all these days, but I should have went to Rock Auto and just grabbed their Amazon, because it's taken, let's see, how many days to get this local? I think I'm on day 2 trying to get them local, so I could already had it here with Amazon Prime, because I have an Amazon Prime account, of course, because just I can go on, and by the way, that's Advance Auto. So thank you. Shout out to Advance Auto for being really, really crappy. Let's see. At least my local one. I think that's pretty much it for this part. I believe in the next part, tomorrow, it's going to be for me. You guys will see this motor back together for the most part, and the transmission basically all right, guys, so we got the 3100 back together for the most part. It's basically all together at this point. Obviously got the valve covers, lower intake, and upper intake, all that on. Most of this is actually, the upper end of the motor is actually from the 97 motor, because it was so much cleaner. I obviously have the chains on it right now because we're getting ready to put it in the car. So yeah, pretty exciting news, but good news is that this thing's basically all put back together here. I'm pretty excited for that. I still got to replace the rear main seal on this thing, but should be pretty quick to do that. The transmission over here from the 97 the 97 Buick is kind of creating a pain in the butt situation for me right now, because the transmission pan on the 98 that's in the car right now has a hole blown through it because of the junkyard they had to drain the fluid, and instead of pulling the pan down and draining it that way, they just put a hole through it, and then they put a little rubber plug and expect you to trust that thing when you eventually put that transmission pan on another car. Well, that I'm not trusting that, so I went to go take this one off, and sure enough, it's different size bolts. This has an 8mm bolt going into the thread diameter is 8mm, going into the bottom of the transmission. The 98 transmission, got some noisy birds going on over here. The 97 transmission, 98 transmission is 6mm. So yeah, just unfortunate. So I'm gonna have to wait on a pan to come in, and it's supposedly coming in tomorrow, so I hope so. And that way we could have our first start tomorrow, because as soon as I drop this engine in and assemble these two, basically it's just buttoning everything back up together. It should be relatively easy. It made it up to the transmission pretty good. Bought this yesterday night, last night, to put this motor in, and it worked quite well. It's just a Pittsburgh 2,000 pound, 4,000 pound little chain equalizer type thing. It just balances out the weight between the two chains, or balances, yeah. But yeah, it went together pretty well. I'm just, super paranoid now more than ever. I'm possibly putting a bad motor or transmission in this car, but there's no real way I could tell more than what I already have, other than pulling the engine pan. There's not really much more I could do with the transmission. Let's go ahead and get this motor back together. I'm just praying that this transmission and engine are good. Alrighty guys, so we got it all hooked up here. Fingers crossed everything is hooked up. I'm really praying it is. So all the fluids are filled. Ooh, this is nerve-wracking. Here we go. It's probably not even gonna start. Nothing.
How does it feel to be a failure?
Didn't hear it run yet. All right, here we go. Is that rod or is that lifter?
Sounded like rod to me.
Let's give it a minute, let it warm up, see if that goes away. Alrighty guys, so we let it sit for a few minutes running, and this is what she's at. She's nice and quiet. I kind of had a feeling that was probably lifter knock going on because it hadn't built up enough oil pressure on top of that. Once you put all these things back together, they do make some noise for a little while. It's pretty normal, especially because all this drivetrain's been sitting for a while. But we do have a coolant leak. It's the back pipe that goes in the back of the intake is leaking, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut her down. Transmission does work. I took it for a ride around the yard. It seems to be perfect, so yeah, I'm very happy. Very, very happy. Very happy. What ended up happening when it didn't start, guys, I didn't address that yet, is it did trip security because I should have figured it was going to do it because this is not the original computer. This is a 1998 computer and harness in this thing. They're basically, I don't think, no, we didn't change a single thing. So, I mean, it is a literal plug-and-play 98 into a 97. All it is one connector in the fuse block, and the entire engine computer harness, or engine and computer just basically bolt right up. So that's very good news. Everything seems to work. I have not got the chance to test the cruise control yet. That was a relatively simple plug and play as far as I know, but we'll have to see if that works. I think it will. So alrighty guys, I'm gonna update you guys once it's basically all ready to go. Well, guys, some time has passed. It has been a while, but I've put about 2,000 miles in this car now. It's been very, very great miles. The engine is super reliable. The transmission appears to be super reliable. It's just overall been a really good car so far. Other than window regulators keep on breaking in it for some reason, but it is what it is. That's simple stuff. I'm just glad the motor and drivetrain, just the overall drivetrain I should say, is good. And I couldn't do this without some people on YouTube, including Ivan from Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. He helped me get into contact with the previous owner of this Buick, and I have to thank him so much for that because it's a great car, and I also want to thank the previous owner of this car, Steve. It's been a great car. I know he's not going to end up watching this YouTube video because he doesn't really use YouTube, but at the end of the day, it's been a great car, and I'm very thankful for having the opportunity to have done this. Currently, I'm actually putting the transmission that came out of this into the Lumina. It's just been so busy around here. That's been crazy. Cars have come and gone, and so stay tuned. There's going to be some little, maybe, I can't promise it, there may be small little tidbits of the videos, just some lost videos that I've recorded that I haven't actually followed through on. So we'll see. It'll get some content out there for you guys, and thank you guys so much for watching this video and staying tuned, and all the loyal fans for watching every single one of the videos I've recently uploaded, even though they haven't done as well as what I've hoped they would. It is what it is. So we'll get back to the Derby content very soon, and thank you guys so much. I couldn't do it without you guys. So like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye, everybody.